Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday morning edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder, sitting here with comedians who've been in the comedy game for a long time. They've been in comedy films, TV, film festivals, then everything. He traveled the world. Traveling the world doing comedy. I don't know what gets better than that. Now they in a sports talk show with, now they even being comedians and they talk sports. I'm with Fig and Talent. Gentlemen, how you guys doing this morning?
Look at Fig. Fig look good over there. Look at Fig.
Yeah,
Fig
but your
looks
light look
fresh.
amazing too. Your light look amazing too. Now you look like Fig with your light. So you know. Both of y'all got some amazing light. I gotta work on my light skills.
Yes. It's amazing. It's called sunlight. It's springtime.
Yeah, but that ain't sunlight on talent. That ain't sunlight on talent. Yo, let's jump into the show. I always do a COVID report first. This COVID report this morning might shock you guys. Then again, I don't know if you heard the news or not. It might shock you sitting at home watching the show. But this morning, the NCAA has released the news that 6 NCAA referees got sent home this morning because of COVID. Now, we talked about the COVID issues with the NCAA. We talked about how they're basically getting ready to tackle the NCAA tournament. But it really makes you wonder and be concerned, right, Talent, when you find out that 6 referees who descended there last night got COVID and they had to turn around and send those dudes back home. So
I wonder if, you know what I wonder, Frank? I wonder if the people who make the decisions to play through COVID, if they got COVID, will they change it?
Mm-hmm. Good point.
I think that at this point, that's what it looks like. It looks like the only way they're going to reconsider what they're doing is if the people who make the main decision at the tip top start getting really, really ill and be like, you know, it is real out there. You know, because right now I think people don't think it's real. Half the people do and half the people don't.
Yeah, I don't understand how this can happen. Fig, what's your thoughts when you hear 6 referees literally got COVID at the NCAA tournament? Where's it all gonna be played?
Yo, man, it is like people fail to realize how serious this thing is, and they won't go back to a formula that has proven to work 100% of the time by creating a bubble. That is the only thing we've known since COVID has started to keep you safe 100% of the time was a bubble. And they failed to like reproduce the bubble. I don't get it. It don't make any sense to me.
Me neither. I'm at a loss for that one. But you know, like we always do, that's the COVID report. Let's move on. In baseball, I thought this was kind of exciting, so I want to throw this out there. Los Angeles Angel pitcher Shohei Ohtani, a Japanese pitcher, he came in yesterday. He was pitching the game, and he also hit 2 home runs during the game. People are saying he's going to be the best Japanese pitcher to ever play the game. Still early on, but when you hear a pitcher not only hits 1 home run, he hits 2 home runs in the game, I literally think that the whole momentum of baseball is going to try to get behind this dude because, you know, they're trying to make baseball exciting again. You know what I mean? We don't see pitchers hit home runs. You see him bunt. You see him strike out. You don't see him be this exciting. And on top of that, let's not forget, being Japanese with a whole lot of Asian Americans in this country, that could be huge too. What's your thoughts on that, Talent?
It's funny because baseball always does that. It was like it's the decade of the Dominican, or it's the decade of the Puerto Rican, or the decade of the Asian, you know, and now here we are, the decade of the Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like everyone carries that sport decade to decade. You know what I mean? Like they need that thing. And with Asia right now, I think for the sport of baseball, that's a big step. That's amazing because they did it at one decade point when even the Yankees had like a couple of Asian pitchers. You know what I mean? So now getting back to that, I think that's good money for them. You know, that's good revenue.
Yeah, it's definitely revolves around a whole lot of money right there. Fig, what's your thoughts?
First off, Talent, your lighting is beautiful. What is that? Velvet? Yo, man, it's like this guy grew up on a strict diet of sushi or something that is giving him some kind of superpowers because, like you said, Frank, pitchers don't hit no home runs. Like, not 2. I don't know, man. Listen, I don't know. Maybe they juiced this bat, juiced the ball. juiced his muscles or something like that. Pitchers hitting home runs. I'm like, this is gonna make baseball exciting.
Right.
I might
Right.
watch this year.
Right. I'm kind of definitely shocked on this one. Let's talk about the next thing I want to talk about in baseball. The Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera, came out publicly yesterday for the first time, and he doesn't do interviews. If you know anything about baseball, Miguel Cabrera doesn't come. He doesn't do interviews. He just doesn't speak to the press. He hates it. But he came out yesterday and he supported the hiring of AJ Hinch, which was like shocking because he said, I don't care what he did, what you all said he did and everything else. This is my dude. He didn't cheat. Let's just run it back. Let's just play baseball. He came out and said, literally, he didn't cheat. I don't care. And let's just play baseball. Now, the funny thing is no baseball player has come out and said anything about the Houston, cheating scandal or stood by either manager when they went through this, except Miguel Cabrera is doing that for AJ Hinch. When you hear that, man, what you think?
Well, I think that's the way the game should go. I think, the fellow players and people involved in the game need to stick up for each other. I mean, we spend so much time throwing each other under the bus because we don't want to be in trouble. Where's those guys? This is like you said, this is rare for him, but this is kind of rare for teammates.
Right.
And sports players, period. We've been watching a lot of guys get shoveled under the bus, and nobody's there to go, nah, man, leave him alone. He's not this, he's not that. You'll see a lot of the flip of the coin. You'll see a lot of he's a cancer in the locker room. He's over the top. He's overpaid. We don't want to play for him. But you don't see a lot of this camaraderie. I like the camaraderie. I think this is good.
Honestly, I love it because how many times do people stand up for their coach? It just really doesn't happen. All right, Fig, what's your thoughts?
I think Cabrera has to say that because I did some research, and what you guys don't know is that Hinch is not his real last name. His real last name is Hinchman, which means he's a killer. So you have to say that, or else it could be curtains for you.
I like the way you look to the side.
Like the way he said that when he looked to the side, said that, okay.
He said that and then he looked like maybe he's in his house.
Okay, I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
You got to stick up for the henchman, or else it could be curtains for you.
Because he's a killer. You went.
All right, let's move on to the NFL because there's some big news that just dropped. The Seattle Seahawks cornerback Shaquille Griffin just signed with the Jaguars for a 3-year, $44 million deal, which makes the Seahawks a lot weaker because they just lost another piece of their defense. When you hear the Seattle Seahawks defense losing pieces and everything else, I don't know how much longer Russell Wilson's going to stay there, man. I'm concerned about that because Russell Wilson was completely upset about the defense. He was upset with what's going on with the team, and now they got weaker literally 30 seconds ago because they just obviously lost Shaquille Griffin. What's your thoughts on this, Count?
I got 3 words for you. Deja vu.
Okay.
It's really 1 word, but in the hood, it's 3 words. Mm-hmm. Deja vu. Didn't we just watch this with Richard Sherman?
Yeah.
When the Legion of Boom first started to tear itself apart, you're the Legion of Boom, not just because you're high-powered offense, you had a dope defense. Mm-hmm. And of all the pieces to lose, a cornerback again?
Yeah.
I think, the plot is thickening, bro. The plot is thickening. As much as I want to see him stay in Seattle and because we don't have a lot of legacy guys no more. You got Aaron Rodgers, Brady last year clipped his wings. This looks like he's probably going to clip the wings of Wilson because I don't see him staying there, bro, if you don't have a reason to stay.
I'm going to say this for the record. I don't think Russell Wilson is going to be in a Seattle Seahawks uniform. I don't see it. The writing is too much on the wall. I mean, that's crazy. They're inquiring about other teams where they can make the money fit and everything. I just don't see it. Fig, what you think?
I think, like you said, I think they're trying to get other teams involved and stuff like, to help the trade go through. I hear people in Chicago is buying Russell Wilson jerseys. They lost the Legion of Boom. Now they're losing other pieces on this new defense. Wilson is complaining about his offensive line and running around. It like you said, man, it seems like the writing is on the wall that Russell is like on his way out, man, and seems like Chicago might be his landing spot.
Yeah, I think that might be a good thing. I mean, we'll see what happens. Now I got to talk about the dude because y'all know I was excited yesterday. As soon as we got off the air of box seats, the Patriots made 6 signings. They even signed Hunter Henry this morning to a 3-year, $37.5 million deal. And Hunter Henry's joining the other free agent tight end, Jonnu Smith. The Patriots now have the back-to-back 2 best tight ends they've had probably ever. You know what I mean? It depends. You could argue with that. They also got Nelson Aguilar. They got Kendrick Bourne. And this morning, word is leaking out that they are trying to sign Leonard Fournette because they're going to lose James White to the Bucs. I got a Pelican brief that I'm going to drop out there. But first, let me hear what your thoughts is, Talent, when you hear the Patriots is doing all these moves in the, in the first 24, 48 hours.
I was happy for you, Frank, because they was going crazy yesterday. They signed 5 players. They signed 6 new parking lot attendants, 2 Gatorade boys. They went crazy. I heard they replaced the popcorn maker and everything. New brand of pretzels, big. So I'm happy for Frank because it's good news. There's only one person I'm more happy for than Frank, and that's Cam Newton.
Really? Why?
Because they brought him back, and now they're putting these pieces together to give him an actual bona fide shot at redeeming himself and showing us the old Cam Newton. You know what I mean? You got to put pieces in there, and they're doing that.
If Cam Newton's the quarterback that they're going to go with, but I'll come back, circle that in a second. Fig, what you think?
I put in my application for the hot dog man. And it's not like a written application. You had to send a video. It's hot dogs, peanuts. Get your beer here. Yes, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Let me tell you something. Bill Belichick has a new name. Billy Badass. That's what Bill's name is right now for this entire season is Billy Badass because he got some badass players to put on the Patriots and they're going to make it happen this year. They're going after Tom Brady. Belichick is going after Brady and it's going down, baby. It's going down.
Now, my next hypothesis is for your boy, Talent Amir, who always gave me hell about the Patriots. So, Amir, this one is for you, bro. Y'all want to hear my hypothesis?
Go ahead.
Okay, here's my hypothesis.
Whoa. What? Hypothesis? The word for the day is hypothesis.
Okay. You stopped me for the word for the day? Okay. All right. Anyway, let me throw this out there. I have my Pelican brief. I'm going to say at the top, I think the Patriots are going to make a run at Deshaun Watson. And I'm going to tell you why. Deshaun Watson right now has a cap hit of $15.9 million. Patriots and people in New England think that the Patriots are going to go after Jimmy G. Jimmy G's cap hit this year is 26.4. That's number one. Cap hit for Deshaun Watson in 2022 goes up to $40 million in 2022. And of that, right, there's going to be a $67 million dead cap hit on Houston for that purpose. Okay, $67 million. Now, right now, the Jets and Miami can afford Deshaun Watson right now, but obviously nothing's happening. You know what I mean? They will not be able to afford him in 2022 because the cap hit and everything else switches for the Jets. I mean, it goes up for everybody, but of course, because of the cap hit and everything else, and the amount of money that you have to spend for them, the Jets, Miami, and the Bears, it goes down because they would be. They have like 7 or 8 contracts that expand in 2022. Let's also not forget the cap hit for every other team goes up because the new TV contracts is coming out. So if you're the Patriots and you have all the teams you have and you signed Hunter Henry right now and you signed Jonnu, I forgot Jonnu's last name, Jonnu Smith right now, you don't sign them so their production can go down with a quarterback like Cam Newton, do you? Or do you sign them saying, hey, we're going to get a quarterback who could throw? Yes, it could be Alex Smith, but I think it's going to be Deshaun Watson because of the cap hit for 2022. That's my hypothesis theory. Now, Talent, you can take it as you will. Fake, you can take it as you will. I think it's going to happen.
I think you're way off base. I think your Patriots see what I've seen and what Fig's seen and what happened to Cam this year. I think that they're smart enough to know they're not putting that blame on him, and he's still the guy that they want. Like when they went after him the first time, that's why they signed the deal with him. I think they're putting pieces around him so that they leave no excuse to any other part of the game if he fails.
Mm-hmm.
If he fails, it's all on him. They're taking all the doubt out. Can't call coaching. Can't say he didn't have no team, no defense, no pieces. They're putting everything in place. I don't think they would go and lock him in and then get another high-profile quarterback. That I can't see.
Okay, now the only reason why I partially agree with what you're saying is one sense. Cam can't. The only problem is Cam can't hit the side of a barn. You don't get all these players. You don't get all the wide receivers they got yesterday. They all are deep threats. You don't get guys like that, so all their production can go down because Cam at quarterback right now, their production won't stay the same and it won't go up. It's only going to go down with the QB that they have right now with Cam Newton, unless they completely switch to a running game mode, which I don't think they're going to 100% do. Fig, what you think? You think it's crazy?
This is what I think right here, Frank. I think this is what you're doing.
What about doing? Laying back in the bed?
You're reaching.
Okay.
If I could just get my hands on Deshaun Watson.
You know what I like? You know what I like? This time yesterday, this is a fact. This time yesterday, both of you all would have said that the Patriots wouldn't have got half these pieces that they got yesterday. Both at this exact same time yesterday.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing. They got a lot of money. They got cap space. But here's the thing. The one part of your hypothesis that you left out is what will Houston get in return for Deshaun Watson? Because you know they want a boatload. Listen, you saw what these trades have been going for. 19 first rounds, 4 second rounds of Partridge and the Pear Tree, 6 players. Like, what are they giving up for this guy?
They are going to get rid of Stephon Gilmore and that $28 million contract and a couple of their draft picks. So that's the only way they make it work. Stephon Gilmore is their most expensive player on the Patriots right now. They give him up. And they also got J.C. Jackson in. You know they're going to draft the cornerback and stuff like that. Let's just see. So
I would ask you, if you were Houston, get your love affair away from the Patriots for 1 second. Just for 1 second, and say, if you were Houston, would you take that deal?
Okay, let me answer your question. If I'm Houston, and Talon, if you're Houston, you know he's not going to play for you, period. You know he's not going to play for you. And you want to build a team, and you have a team that's going to take a majority of the cap hit for you for his contract. Because wherever he goes, they're looking at a $67 million cap hit, wherever he goes. Which team? There's only 2 teams out there that can take off and absorb a lot of that cap hit. So which team is going to take that cap hit, number one, and which team is going to be able to offer you a large contract absorption of that and draft picks? This year right now is the Jets, Miami. But you also got to figure this part out too. And which part I didn't say. My man, Deshaun Watson, has to sign off on where he's going to go. He has to say, if you could say, hey, we go to the Jets, you go to Miami. If he doesn't want to go to the Jets in Miami, okay, now you get back to the drawing board. He has to have the sign off on that, number one. And big number 1 and 1A is there's a huge cap hit that is going to hit your team regardless. So to answer your question, if I'm Houston, and right now I'm going to take the most draft picks and whoever is going to absorb the most cap hit off my books. That's what I'm going to do. And who's going to offer me that? Right now, Nick Caserio came from the Patriots. He was assistant GM. He goes down there. He's now GM. I already have a great rapport with him with Bill Belichick. You know, it's just to me. Everybody can say what they want to say. It's lining up to me. It's just lining up. One duck is lining up after another, after another, after another.
Not gonna happen, bro.
Well, we'll see.
Fig is right. That's a lot of reaching.
Okay, well, tell me why. Tell me why.
Well, I mean, I just gave you the main reason is when you're going after a high-profile quarterback, nobody goes after 2, first of all. People will have a decent backup, and they'll have a star up front. Cam's still a star. Because of COVID, that last season is an asterisk by the whole season because we know he had COVID. We know he wasn't the same when he came back from COVID. So half of us are reserving judgment because of that reason. He's still a star quarterback. I don't see you signing him only to turn around and try to get Deshaun Watson. I don't see that. Who would bring Cam Newton as a backup?
Cam's stats was the 30th in the league last year. He still until he showed
it was COVID.
I'm not denying it was COVID, but until he shows it this year, I'm not saying I'm not going to agree with it. Until
here's the thing that gets me. Did Deshaun Watson? You said Deshaun Watson said he has to sign off on where he goes because he got a no trade clause in his contract. So clearly, somewhere along the line, this is something that I missed in all the news that he said, I'm not going to the Jets and I'm not going to Miami, but I will go to the Patriots. I missed that press conference.
I'm explaining it to you since you missed it.
I missed it.
I'm explaining. Okay. First of all, if you are Deshaun Watson, do you want to go to a team that you know could win, or do you want to go to a team and it has won? Or do you want to go to a team that you're rebuilding again if you're Houston? That's number one. And number two, the part that you keep missing is the Jets cannot absorb that literally that cap hit for year 2 or 3 like that, like they could afford now, unless they trade away more pieces. Now, if you're the Jets, do you do it? If you're Miami, do you do it? And the Jets especially the Jets, they got a new coach. They're trying to turn that whole momentum around of losing and losing pieces. They're trying to gain pieces and put together a solid team. But does Deshaun Watson want to go back from a Houston building to another building team? Or, hey, even if it's not the Patriots, Deshaun is going to go to a team that he knows can make a run at the Super Bowl now. You know, he ain't going to go to a team
Miami got a great team.
Miami
just team. And they got a quarterback. Here's the funny thing. Miami actually has a quarterback that they can give Houston, plus some draft picks, and they have some players. And the last thing about absorbing the contract, we've seen 2 times this year that the front office, the management, the owners can restructure your contract, front load it, where they give you bonus money up front, where you don't have to get a heavy cap hit. So we've already seen them do that. So the cap hit it just can't be a boulder or a trading piece, because if you restructure his contract and give him most of his money up front, then you don't get that much of a contract hit or in your salary cap.
Okay, right. But to defute that, the problem is with dead cap space money, unless the player again agrees to that and everything else. First of all, you're skipping over the hurdle thinking he will agree to go to Miami. Let's just say he does. What outside wide receivers that Miami has that he'd be willing to say, hey, I'm gonna throw the ball to these guys because I know they got their burners down there. That was the problem with the Miami quarterback they had last year. His complaints was he didn't have any wide receivers to throw the ball to. Fitzpatrick said the same thing, and they were balling out. Now, I'm saying the Patriots because they just signed 3 speedy wide receivers yesterday. Now, I wouldn't have said that yesterday morning, but yesterday afternoon, they signed 3 speedy wide receivers and 2 pass-catching tight ends yesterday. So now, if you're the Patriots, you sit down and you say, look what we got on offense. Our defense now, we just got the guy from Tennessee. So, hey, I might be reaching, but that's just if I'm him, I'm just sitting there saying, yeah, I might, but I don't want to keep talking about this. I just want, I got to keep the ball going.
Last question. What are they going to do with Cam?
Cam's contract right now, this is a fact. Cam's contract right now is a backup contract. They already told him and this is official. You can look on the news. They already told him you will be battling for your job. You will be bad. You are not guaranteed to start. So that's what they're going to do with Cam. They already told him that. You're not guaranteed to start. And on top of that, his contract is a $10 million contract. But guess what? 5 of it is guaranteed. And basically, the rest, $5 million of it is incentives. So he already knows he could lose his job. So they ain't going to do nothing to Cam. They're going to just say, Cam, battle it out. You know what I mean? Hey, the Patriots could bring in Deshaun. But how many people are they going to bring in when Cam is going to not feel insulted? You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see.
I can't see it, bro. I can't see it.
All right, but that's what's so exciting about football. You never know until it actually happens, especially with the Patriots, because you all, as being Jets fans and Giants fans, you all know the Patriots do some signings that you don't see coming from nowhere. And I don't see it coming from nowhere. They do it all the time. So, all right, let's move the ball on, man. I want to throw this out there and say that Von Miller just signed back with Denver, and when he signed back with Denver, he is trying to make the pieces of Denver come back because they're trying to attract a quarterback right now. But Denver's missing a lot of pieces on offense. So do you think Von Miller signing with Denver was a great move for him, or should he have signed with somebody else and try to get himself, a ring chase? What do you think, Talent?
Well, you got to realize he doesn't need the ring chase. If he was in a position where he needed to ring chase, then I would say, yeah, at this stage of the game, Von should sign with somebody else. But because he doesn't need it, he has a ton of loyalty to the city of Denver, and its franchise. And I get that. Again, we just talked about how that is seldom and missing in the game. Everything's hopping around and who's signing the best checks and this, that, and the glamour and the glory instead of loyalty. He's a loyal guy to that franchise. So I think that they're only about, including the quarterback, 2 or 3 pieces away. They're not a horrible, dismantled, gotta rebuild team. You throw 3 pieces over there with a decent quarterback, you're playing, you're contending. So it's not a bad decision on Miller's part. I like what Von did. Sign where you know what I mean? The devil you know.
Right. Fig, what you think?
It's Miller time, baby. That's what it
There
is. It's
go.
Miller time. Von Miller did the damn thing, man. Von Miller was probably the most instrumental player on Denver to get them that Super Bowl because that defense was stellar and they dismantled who was it? It was it Carolina when Cam was there? Going for the Super Bowl, was it that year? And then I think that was the year that Peyton Manning was the quarterback and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. Von Miller was the one that made that happen, man. Like Callan said, they're not that far away. You know what I mean? To be contenders, like right now, Denver is not a team that you want to see be like, oh yeah, we played Denver. That's an easy win. No, the hell it's not. They get a decent quarterback. And like Talon said, a couple of other pieces, and they're right back in the hunt. They're right back in the mix. This year has been one of the most craziest years for quarterbacks or the NFL that I have seen in my entire life, man. It's just a lot of moving pieces, and I would love to see this NFL season when the dust finally settles to see where everybody lands up. But I'm almost willing to bet a whole bunch of money that we're not going to see Deshaun Watson in New England, though.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Speaking of other quarterbacks and everything else, Jameis Winston returned to the Saints. Now, there are a lot of people up this morning and everything else talking about how good the Saints are going to be. I'm going to say this on the record. I think Jameis Winston is going to surprise a lot of people. I think it's a perfect fit for him down in New Orleans. As you said yourself, Talent, he threw for 5,000 yards and everything else. I think he did need to sit under a great quarterback to see and to be able to read defenses and everything else. I think it's a great signing. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, Talent. You tell me what you think about Jameis Winston down there playing for the Saints.
Oh, it's awesome. That's a great thing. I think, like you just mentioned, sometimes a person needs to take that step back. When you put them on, because let's face it, the league kind of put them on a timeout. And then coming from the back and starting and playing as a quarterback and getting those wins and more importantly, those numbers under his belt with all that yardage, his confidence is back. Mm-hmm. So I think knowing that Breeze is gone now, and he's back out there, oh, we're gonna get a hell of a Jameis Winston year of football right here. I think this might be his best season.
Yeah,
I think so. Barring injury, I think this will be his best season.
I think so too. Fig, what you think about Jameis Winston signing with the Saints?
Yo, man, I think I've been calling for Jameis Winston since since last year. I was really disappointed that they put Taysom Hill in front of Jameis Winston, but I guess that was a calculated move. I think that Jameis Winston, I think Rodney talks about he had like eye problems and he had LASIK surgery to correct the eye problem. And like the kid's arm is phenomenal. It's next level. He threw for over 5,000 yards in a system that was suited to throw the long ball. And I'll tell you like this, Tom Brady did not do well in Tampa trying to do the exact same thing that Bruce Arians had Jameis Winston do before he got rid of him. Tom Brady wasn't doing well. And what they did in the second half of the season, they changed up the offense a little bit and let Tom Brady run the offense that he was most comfortable with play action pass and some short passes, and then throw the long ball occasionally. And that's when Tom Brady took off, and that's when they became a Super Bowl contender, Super Bowl winning team. And I think with Sean Payton down there in New Orleans with Jameis Winston, him sitting behind Drew Brees, I think this kid is gonna have a stellar year.
I'm gonna disagree with what you said about the Tom Brady example. I think Tom Brady and the Bucks just had COVID as an issue. I think no OTAs, and I think not being able to get the team mesh and get him to get on the same, the table, because Tom Brady was used to going out working with his wide receivers in the summer and getting that rapport down, that timing down. They didn't have none of that. You know what I mean? I don't think he was of a process. I think from day one he came in and he was like, "Look, this game plan I want to run with you all and everything," and they were like, "Okay, we'll piece it together." That's what I think happened. But to each his own. I mean,
Tom Brady. If you remember, Tom Brady is the one who got fined, and they was chastising them for going out in them parks down in Florida.
I know.
He
did it, got fined, and couldn't do it no more. That's what I'm saying. They didn't do it. You're making my point. Let me keep the thing going. Let me keep the process going. What you think talent about Rob Gronkowski signing back with the Bucks? Are you excited with that? You hear that? Because Antonio Brown has not signed, but Rob Gronkowski now signed. The Bucks.
They're going to get the band back together, Frank. Don't let them fool you because they're taking their time. They're going to get the band back together. You seen that boat parade. You seen them throw the Marty trophy around. They're getting the band back together. They're having too much fun.
Okay, well then let me ask you this then. Since you think they're getting the whole band back together, which I don't think they will, because I don't think they have enough money. How good do you think? How far along do you think Tampa Bay is going to get next year? Do you expect to see them in the Super Bowl next year?
No, I expect them to get very close though. I expect them to go maybe a game or two before the Super Bowl. They'll be upset by somebody else because these other teams are. You know how it goes, man. The winner, everybody guns for the winner. They watch a gazillion tapes and they plot for you. And I would be really shocked if they get that lucky, COVID or injury wise, at the tail end of the season. They got very lucky at the very end of the season when it came down to the COVID and everything. But I think that this year somebody's gonna get their number. I think we're done with all those years of back-to-backs and repeating. I don't think we're going to see that again in our lifetime.
I'll say this: Tom Brady got lucky in one instance when he threw 4 interceptions in that game, and you don't win a playoff game by throwing 4 interceptions. I don't care what nobody says. So the chance of that happening again and you winning that game slightly. Yeah, but Fig, supposedly Tampa Bay has a supposedly soft schedule. Now I hate to say that for one reason, because people always estimate that the team that you get in 1 year is going to be the exact team you get the following year, and we all know that's not true. But right now, the so-called pros are saying, "Hey, their schedule is really, really soft. Tampa Bay should wind up back in the Super Bowl." What you think, Fig? You think Tampa Bay can wind up in the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't know if they're going to wind up in the Super Bowl, but their schedule is very soft. I alluded to it yesterday. Actually, the schedule after they put the schedule out, it was sponsored by Cottonelle. So that's how soft it was. Yes. The schedule is very, very, very. They don't play any winning teams. I don't think there's no team with a winning record that they have to look forward to. It seems like it's a setup, man. I think they play Alabama, Clemson, and Notre Dame in the first half of the season, and then they go on to play some of the professional teams afterwards. So, yeah, the schedule is very soft. It's very cushy and tushy. But they've gone from the hunters to the hunted, and I don't think that they are going to be able to survive that, even though they're getting the old band back together again.
Breaking news: Gino Ariamo, I think I cannot pronounce that guy's name, from the UConn women's basketball coach, is about to win. Yeah. About to sit down the next 2 games because he just caught COVID. So there's that real fast. Talon, let me ask you this, and then I want to move on to basketball. Where do you think Andy Dalton's going to last? Because right now he's supposed to be the best available free agent left on the market. He's still a free agent. No one said he's coming back to Dallas. I think he's going to go back to Dallas because I think they're going to need obviously something in case Dak gets hurt again. You know, I first of all, I can't see. I don't understand the reason why with all the things going on. I don't understand the reason why he ain't signed yet. But if you're Dallas and you're Andy Dalton, doesn't it make sense to go back to Dallas? Or where do you think Andy Dalton will land at right now? Because he's trying.
There's no Andy Dalton dollars anywhere else. So go ahead and snatch up that minimum wage and stay over there and keep the family where they live at. I don't see a market for him because there's backups galore and decent backups. Like if you look at people's teams, you know, when you're watching the game and you know the blowout happens and it's like 5 minutes in the game and they put the backup, you're like, oh, they got so and so. I think that's almost 90% of the teams. So he's in the place he needs to be as far as a backup. And as you can see, you're going to get the playing time. Again, if Dak's not ready to go or something else happens to Dak, you actually got the playing time. But I just don't think he built enough market up for himself to have the pick of the litter, so to speak. I would be on Jerry phone. I was on speed dial with Jerry Jones. If I'm Dalton, I'm calling him like a chick you didn't call back after the first night.
What's the matter? You didn't like last season? I thought we did very well. We were good together. Aren't we going to go out on another season?
Go out on another season.
And the funny thing is, man, look, I'll tell you this. The veteran Caucasian quarterback or white quarterback will always find a landing spot as a backup. Always. I don't think there's a lot of black quarterbacks that get an opportunity to be the veteran backup on any teams. I mean, I think the one that comes to mind is RG3 in Baltimore. But other than that, not a lot of black backups. And those backups make a handsome salary. I mean, it's not $40 million, but somewhere between $5 to $7 million is not a bad job to sit on the bench and either hold the old school clipboard or the little tablet so you can keep the information and walk around and pretend like you're doing something and stuff like that while you make $5 to $7 million. That's not a job afforded to many brown faces.
Okay,
so I think Michael Vick was the only one that did it for a little while.
Okay, so I want to make sure I'm clear that you said that if you're a backup quarterback and you're white, you have a better chance of getting. Is that what you're saying? I'm trying to make sure I understand.
I think possibly. What I'm basically saying is that if Andy Dalton doesn't end up on Dallas's squad, he'll end up somewhere. He'll find a landing spot because that seems to be that seems to be a job that white quarterbacks that are veterans seem to be able to get.
So let me see if I got this right, Frank. Let me see if I got this right. So you're saying the FBI and the NYPD was in cahoots with the assassination of Malcolm X?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just want to make sure I got it.
The jury admitted.
Let me just throw it out there. Like that was a ludicrous statement you made, Fig. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of white backup QBs who suck who got sent home. And I'll just throw it out. My favorite team, Brian Hoyer, who everybody thought was a starter in this league. He's sitting home right now. He ain't starting. He ain't playing nowhere. Nobody's even calling him. His phone ain't even ringing. He sucks, and he's white. So that's a ludicrous statement. So just throw that out.
Go to the other side. Huh? Name the black backups. That'll really help you out a lot more if you look for that one. The black backups.
Okay, well, the black backup right now, who came from the Chargers right now, he's getting calls right now to start for some teams. The guy who got sent home last year because he punched his lung. What do you count? I don't understand.
It's 32 teams. How many black backups we got?
Yeah, but that wasn't the question. But that wasn't the question.
That's what I said, though. No, I answered the question. I said Andy Dalton will probably find a landing spot because he's a veteran and he's a white quarterback. He's pretty decent. And there's a lot of white backup quarterbacks in the NFL. He'll probably find if not Dallas, he will find a nice landing spot because there's not a lot of black veteran backups that get that job. That's what I said.
Okay, well, for the record, if Andy Dalton goes to a couple other teams, he's going to start. I don't think he's going to be a backup because he's going to start. He was only a backup because of the situation he was in last year. And he's probably making phone calls right now to start for a lot of teams that he could make and he could do. But let's now talk about the NBA, because something happened last night, and I'm not even a Knicks fan, but I thought it was the most atrocious thing. I was like, the NBA is starting to really piss me off. The NBA is going to equal, you know how you have the equal sign? NBA piss me off, like PMO. Just like with the calls and the referees. Let me explain to you the situation if you're sitting at home, you didn't see the game. Okay, here's the situation right last night. The New York Knicks are playing a hell of a game against the Brooklyn Nets. New York Knicks is in the game. They're in the game. My man Julius Randle literally has the ball. The Knicks are down by 1. First of all, let's just say this. The Knicks even made the game competitive, blew me away. I was excited about that part. Now,
first of all, we came back from 18 down. Keep going.
Yes, first. Yeah, throw that in.
Yeah, they came back from 18 down. But here's the thing. Julius Randle has the ball. He goes up. I'm sitting at home in Boston, and I clearly saw Kyrie slap that ball out of his hand. I mean, I'm sitting here, but the referee on the court did not see him hit that ball and called a travel, and that basically made them lose the game because they didn't even get a chance to get the shot up. Now, that's everything how I feel. To me, I thought it was atrocious. I don't like when referees come in with horrible calls and become the outcome of the game. Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, I do not care. I absolutely hate it. Let the boys play. That's my thing. Let the boys play. Let the play decide if they win or they lose. Because then we can sit there and be saying, oh, man, he missed that shot. It was a good game. You know what I mean? Not that the ref called the game and took the game. I don't know. I'm going too much. Talent, what you think?
You're not doing too much. I totally agree. I actually watched the game last night. It was the first Knick game all season with the schedule that I've been able to watch the full game in its entirety. And, you know, I got depleted when they went down 18. I'm like, oh, man, we're going to let this thing slip away, whatever. And then I start digging back in my crab legs, and I looked up and like, oh, it's a game. And then it gets to the very end, and you can see that they're riled up. They got that thing that they need to pull this thing out. And then here go the refs. And I was like, yo, this is what I hate. And then when you're that far down the line with minutes left or seconds left in the game, the rules are set up to fix it.
Right.
And they don't fix it.
Where are the days, Fig? I'm going to ask you this question. Where are the days back in the 90s when the refs used to let you play, whether you got fouled or not? Where are those days? You all remember those days? How many times did we sit there? We old enough to remember when the boys was balling, 2 minutes left to go in the game. Don't call no foul unless it's so unless somebody slugs you or you literally hold the ball and you walk 10 steps. You know what I mean? Let the boys play. But anyway, that's my
I really
thought.
You're right, man. I miss those days because it leaves the game on the court. You know, where the refs are really not interfering. I think not only that call, there was a few other calls that went that didn't go the Knicks' way. And the thing is, the one thing that I'm noticing about the NBA is that the stars get the benefit of the doubt. And here's what gives the Nets a leg up. They have a lot of stars. You know what I mean? Either young stars or aging stars. You know, when you get on the court, you got James Harden, you got Kyrie Irving, KD when he comes back, you got Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. You have a plethora of stars that are on that team that'll probably get the benefit of the doubt 9 times out of 10 just because they're household names. And then when you play in a team like the Knicks, who has a lot of young players, we had the one All-Star, Julius Randle, has been playing out of his mind this year, made the All-Star team for the first time, probably the first time in his career, but I can't remember the last time the Knicks had a bona fide All-Star, with the exception of Carmelo Anthony, was probably the last one. And I'm saying to myself, what you doing? I'm just saying, like,
plethora.
Yeah. I'm like, let them play, man. Let them play. I mean, we were down 18. We came back. We deserve to leave it all on the court without the referee's whistle being
That's a good new Marvel superhero. Since the Black Plethora.
The Black Plethora.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I am a Celtics fan. I'm going to say this. We all know I'm a Celtics fan. I'm gonna say this. The Knicks are one trade player away from upsetting the Brooklyn Nets out there because Brooklyn plays pretty and the Knicks play scrappy. And I feel sorry for the Knicks. I mean the Nets if they have to face the Knicks in the playoffs.
In a 7-game series, yo. Pretty versus gritty.
Pretty versus yes.
Pretty versus gritty. Pretty versus
gritty. Yes, sir.
I feel because the Knicks play gritty. They play scrappy basketball. You could see, especially last night. I haven't watched the Knicks play, but you can see that they're going to make a move before the trade deadline, and they're going to be a scrappy, team. Like I haven't seen them play defense like this in 15, 20 years. I got to say that too. They play some tight defense.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to make a trade. I don't think there's two players that they want, Bradley Beal being one. There's two players that they want, and I think that they're not going to get those two, and I think they're going to be stuck. And I don't think they mind being stuck this year because this team has built some camaraderie amongst each other. They're a team. I mean, they know exactly who to put in at what time, who gives them the output offensively and defensively.
Yeah, but if they get Clint Capella, let's just say they go out there and get Clint Capella because they can, and they're trying and they're shopping Clint Capella. If they get Clint Capella, you know what I mean, and they trade away some draft picks, right? You got to trade. This is when we all know this. You have to trade a player from your team and some draft picks that'll help obviously make your team. But you can't trade a player who's helping produce for your team for another. You can't do that. So the Knicks are going to, the Knicks always make trades. Number one,
it's going to be tough. I think this year is going to be tough because, to your point of what you just said. To get anybody that they really want, you got to give up key pieces. And those key pieces we're talking about are the contributors.
Or they trade away some of their future with some future draft picks for a person. Like they don't need somebody to come in and help them score. Now they need somebody who's going to help them block and be a maintain on the block piece. You could trade a draft pick this year and next year and get that. Again,
we don't have nothing to give, Frank. We don't have any draft picks to 2038. I checked.
Yo, Frank, you know what? Yo, talent, Frank. You know what? We're I know KD wasn't there yesterday for the Nets, but on our side, we were missing our starting center. We were missing Mitchell Robinson, and we got Derrick Rose. We were missing two of our key players. Mitchell Robinson is a rim protector, you know what I mean? And we were missing Derrick Rose, which is our slasher.
Okay, but I say this big. Pay attention to this though. Even if Katie was there, to be honest with you, I've seen more net games this year than net games by scheduling, right? One thing I can tell you is when those three dominant offensive players on the floor, they're at a deficit of defense.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the other caveat I'm gonna throw to both of you all. Do you either one of you actually believe that the Nets, and I mean the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, are gonna go the remaining of the year without getting another injury that's gonna affect their team? I think they're going to. I think they're I think they're injury prone.
Bro, your boy might not even come back.
Yeah, I mean, look what's going on with KD. There's some
what's going on?
This year is going on in Brooklyn. So
again,
the rumor is worse than what they said. I know a dude that close source told me before it got cold, he went to a cookout with KD and KD got gout. This is just what I heard.
And that's serious. That's serious because, gout is very serious if you like seafood, and that's all KD eats. You know what I mean? KD is strictly seafood. And that gout is no joke. I think what happened is KD was hanging out with Draymond, and they went to Subway, and he got a tuna fish sub, which contributed to his gout, and that's why he's out.
All right, well, let me say this. Let me just say this, and I want to move on to a couple other NBA teams. I'm going to say this, and we're going to leave it at that. I think the Knicks are going to make a run, and New York is going to flip upside down if the Knicks and the Nets face each other in the playoffs. The city will lose their mind. And right now, the way it's happening it looks like it's going to happen. The way everything's scheduled like that, it looks like it's going to happen. All right, let me move on.
Number 1 and number 8. The number 1 and number 8 seed.
Yeah, I can see that. Let me move on right now and get ready to talk about something happened. Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, they got everything straight on last night. They beat Dallas, but according to sources and everything else, the Clippers are still chirping and behind the scenes about their play and their camaraderie. So I guess at the end of the day, is the coach that good? Is Tyronn Lue that good right now, talent, or not? What you think about what's going on with the Clippers, and will they do pretty well in the playoffs? Or are we looking?
I don't think he's that good. I just think it's not a point of how good he is as a coach. I think his age has a lot to do with his accomplishments. Mm-hmm. I think he's at a perfect age to reach in the younger persuasion of the players. He's not far from them. And I think they get a different camaraderie when he puts, the hammer down, so to speak. Not that it like coaching, meaning like his play calling and making moves like that. I just think that after Kawhi said what he said, there had to be some meetings, some talks, and some closed door locker room things going on that people got to do some self-evaluation. So I think we're seeing a slow change. Yeah, they might be still chirping, but not for long.
Fig, is Tyronn Lue a good coach or not? And what you
think Tyronn Lue is a pretty decent coach. I think what happened to him on the in the transition is when Doc Rivers got fired, Tyronn Lue was close by, and Doc Rivers pushed him down and stepped over him like Allen Iverson did in the playoff game when they played the Lakers. And that's why it's kind of hard for Tyronn Lue to get the respect of the players, because they were around it and they saw Doc Rivers push him down.
Yeah, and then he got the gout. When everybody know when you step over somebody like that, they can get the gout.
All right, last thing.
Yeah, that's a lot to do with your feet.
I'm gonna say this last thing. I'm gonna leave this with you all, and you all tell me what you think. The word is out of Boston is that the Celtics are trading Tristan Thompson to the Raptors. Don't know who they're gonna get just yet. Tristan Thompson doesn't seem to be working out for the Celtics. It seems like he's gonna land on the Raptors. I'm kind of trying to figure out who the Celtics are gonna get in replace for him. I can't imagine who it would be, but right now the talks is a fact. They're definitely having that. Do you like Tristan Thompson on the Raptors, talent?
You said Tristan Thompson ain't working out for the Celtics. Don't seem like nobody is. That's a damn revolving door like a mug.
Yeah, and the Celtics going in the opposite direction. The Knicks are getting better.
Damn. See, now that puts them in trouble, because now you got to search. Even if it's not working out, you got to search big.
Yep,
sure. You can't afford to get rid of literally a big piece of the team. You can't. It could be some good players out there, but they're not big enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is Boston going to do? You got to replace big with big.
I just hope they don't. I mean, I want them to get Fred VanVleet or what's the other guy's name? I want them to get one of those dudes, but
Lowry.
Yeah, Lowry. But if you trade a big for a small, there'd be a small team, and I don't like it at all. What you think, Vic?
It's just what I was thinking. I was like, who will they get in place of Tristan Thompson? I mean, unless they're going to go
contract, it has to be somebody with the same contract. Tristan Thompson got a $30 million contract.
No, I'm just saying maybe they'll get another player, and in the trade, and then maybe they'll go after a big somewhere else. Like who would really work for the Celtics? I know this sounds crazy. If they could get JaVale McGee from Cleveland. That's all they need, man. They just need a rim protector. Somebody doesn't need the ball, and somebody that's going to get rebounds and pretty much block shots. They got the scoring that they need.
But he's not I don't look at him. He's tall, but not big. We need Tristan. One thing about Tristan is he's tall. He's big. He's a presence, not just a slim, tall dude. Well, okay, now this is
and he can score.
Yeah, and he contributes on the offense and the defense. This is far-fetched. I don't know, but it's Boston, man. You guys can't find a tall leprechaun nowhere.
Nah. Yeah, you can't find him.
What's the
And tell you know I looked, right? You know I looked.
Yo, who's the dude is he in Detroit? Who's the big man in Detroit that's trying to come out again?
Drummond.
Andre Drummond.
Yeah, but he's not a scorer. He's just a rebounder. They want a scorer and a rebounder, and I don't think the Celtics gonna pick him up. But not to mention, Andre Drummond is talking to the Lakers right now as we speak. He's trying to work that deal out to go to the Lakers. Anyway, that's the show. Talent. Everybody out there,
wait a minute.
Hey, follow your boy on Twitter. It's just comedy. Instagram Talent, Duck Comedian, and King Talent Harris on Facebook. And every day, 1:00, Monday to Friday, right here, Box Seats.
Yes, sir. Fig.
Yo, it's at the bottom, man. You want to follow your boy Comedian Fig? It's at Comedian Fig, all social media platforms. And you know, Monday through Friday, baby, right here on the box seats, 1 to 2 p.m., the best damn sports show on TV. And I don't give a damn what nobody says.
He told you the name of the show. You can check us out on the Humor Mill channel. As he said, we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's 1 o'clock. We're on all social media platforms. But most importantly, we are on the Humor Mill app. We're on the Humor Mill, of course, channel outlets. We are everywhere. Tell your friends to tell a friend. Also download the app. We appreciate you all. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock doing the same thing we normally do, which is talk sports and the way things are happening in the NFL draft and of course, the NFL free agency. Looks like we're going to have some more stuff to talk about tomorrow. So y'all don't touch that dial. We'll see y'all. Take care.